When you look at it across the board, there's no question that JayZ may be the most influential figure today. Visibility, viability, insight, contribution, and culture. When you put all that stuff together, he's a remarkable
When
figure.
you bring into account insight, that's the one thing that I wanted to point to, because I don't think people realize that, particularly when it comes to sports. JayZ is an incredibly knowledgeable sports mind. This brother can show up on First Take. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to.
Right.
But he can show up on First Take and debate all day, every day on whatever topic we broach, because he follows all of this stuff. I also tend to believe that the reason why guys follow him or are willing to be a mentee per se is because when they look at JayZ, he's a guy that walked the walk and talked the talk, comes from the same environment, obviously made it, and really talks to them about the minefield. Speak to that in terms of the kind of things you know that he has talked to people about, told athletes about, in terms of minefields that are standing in their path and how to avoid them.
That's a brilliant point because he's been there, right? When you listen to those lyrics where he talks about the haters or he speaks about people who are in opposition, he has made a study astutely of those who oppose you. And the best writers, the best thinkers, and I tell my students this, always anticipate what the objection to your particular position might be, and therefore to lay out a potential strategy that will be able to be deployed against it. So when he's giving advice, he's talking to them about wisdom. Look how he talked to Chris Paul, right? As you weigh your options here, consider X, Y, and Z. Look at the whole field. He's bringing them a kind of universal perspective. He's bringing them a broad field perspective that allows them to talk about what the consequence will be to your particular environment, what it would be to your family, what it would mean to your career, how you will understand yourself in regard to how you want to carry forth your own brand, and at the end of the day, to maintain the bread and butter. What is LeBron doing after 17 years? It's the game. Yeah, they say he's distracted, he's in LA and so on, but he proved them right? Washed king, that this year, I'm showing you that the focus on my career, on my game, will exclude any other conversation that is extraneous to basketball on that court.
Core
and
business.
I think Jay brings core business and laser-like focus.
Professor, I think about, like, put me anywhere on God's green earth, I triple my worth. That's an understatement. You know, he, infinities practically his worth. But he's much more than a salesman. Right? Is there any, not danger, but JayZ as a role model, he's unique. It's more like, I've heard Woody Allen, of all people, talk about Sugar Ray Robinson. It's not like there's a blueprint we can follow. No, he has special gifts. When Puff came out with Biggie, it was like, well, this incredibly talented entrepreneur with this maybe greatest rapper ever. JayZ is the greatest rapper ever when you take the body of work. There's no real debate to be had about that looking at his entire career. Even if he's Hank Aaron, if he never hit 70 home runs, boy, he hit 48 home runs every year for 30 years now, whatever it is. But also the greatest entrepreneur in the history of hip-hop at the very least, and he's crossed over.
He's Diddy and Biggie combined.
Combined. So to be the next JayZ, there's not going to be a next JayZ.
Not a role model, but an inspiration, right? When people look at we talk sports. Look at you three, right? Let's be real. Extremely ingenious at what you do. People, it's so easy. You make it to look so easy that people think I can come on there and talk to Max or to Molly and to Stephen A. No, you guys have perfected this so much that the joists don't show, that the bends don't show, that the stitching and the clothing is so unique that people think now it's accessible. JayZ has done the same thing with hip hop, but he can't be duplicated, but you can be an inspiration because he can inspire you to do with yours what he's done with his. And I think that's
honing the craft, being authentic, the work ethic, the consistency over generations. Anybody can translate that with their own talent.
Yes, absolutely. But let me switch gears. Because based on what you just said, obviously when he decided to partner with the National Football League, there were not folks articulating that kind of thinking about him. There wasn't that level of appreciation that was being disseminated.
That's right.
What was your thought process? Because, again, I don't know whether you had finished this book at that time or you were in the throes of reaching its ending. But my point to you is, as you saw that unfolding, knowing what you know by by virtue of writing this book alone, and you and I both have been in the presence of JayZ one of the times we were together when we were with him. I know you know the brother. My question to you is, what was going through your mind at that particular moment in time with the things that were being said, and how do you juxtapose that to what you know of him?
Yeah, that's a great point. And it's an especially sensitive point about the writing of the book. I had to rewrite it at the end. I was writing fast because when this happened, I was like, oh, no. And I said, I've got to get it in. I told my publishers, I have got to include this because that's where people are going to start. So that's an excellent point. When you look at the long slope of his career, when you look at the trajectory, when you look at the amazing gifts that he has manifested, all of you have brilliantly spoken about, why would you ever dismiss JayZ, number one? Why would you ever bet against him, right? Tom Brady, number two. And number three, has he not built up enough capital? Not that you can't be critical, not that you can't say I'm suspicious and skeptical, but that conjunction is critical. Because of your track record, because of what you've done, at least let me listen. JayZ, you know, and he says in one of his lyrics, I might not be like, say, Busta Rhymes, but when you break down my rhymes, this is what you see. And when we draw back, we see he is very strategic, very conscious. He understands the outside-inside game. He understands that you've got to first put pressure on the NFL, which is what he did. Tell them we're in stadiums too. We don't need them. I'm not going to come to the Super Bowl. And then when they listen, people don't give him credit for, okay, the reason they shifted was not because of their innate magnanimity, their magnanimous character. They were like, look, this is dollars and cents. And he has spoken. Now, he says, let me come inside and leverage that authority. I thought this is an ingenious move for him because he understands that the first thing he's got to do is make it right as possible with Kaepernick. And I think his influence, making the NFL, causing the NFL, encouraging the NFL to do something they hadn't done in 3 years, give this man a shot. Whatever we think about the consequence or how it was handled, the fact that he did that is a token of not only his greatness, but his strategy.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.